Hello, welcome back. It is March 2019 and as you can probably see I have been doing quite a bit of work on the layout. Primarily I have added an awful lot of detail to the sort of track bed of the layout. For example, I have added grass and mud and shrubs to primarily the edges, just to show a bit of wildlife sort of breaking through, as this is an older railway. I've added a path for the signalman and other staff, and I've also added what I believe is called cable trunking. Basically it is the trough, normally covered by a slab of concrete, of wires and sometimes cables used to operate the signals and points. I'm not entirely sure if this is 100% accurate, because I think this style of trunking might not have been brought in until electrical wires came in, but I might be completely wrong with that. Feel free to correct me. Either way, this was a lot easier to do than a whole line of strings and other things, so I'm happy to just keep it as it is. So that's where I'm at with the track bed. I am very happy with where it is at the moment. Now, at the end of the last video you saw me complete a section of retaining wall. I can now happily reveal that I have finished not one, not two, but 3 more sections. Now at this point you could kind of see where the look of the layout is going, which is actually quite exciting. But primarily for this video I'm going to be focusing on the station section here. Now you can see I have completed the sort of wall section of the building itself. As you can see, it's kind of been built into the wall a bit. The way I like to see it is that it used to be sort of the toilet area, and maybe with a little shop next to it that was just meant to serve the passengers on this what used to be a double track platform. But then the line got closed, the track was being filled in, the volunteers came, they saved it, and they were too late to save the main building, but they were able to turn the toilet slash retail bit into their station ticket office. Now at the moment it's looking a tiny bit bare, so my first port of call is going to be to add a lot of detail to this station area. Now, as you can see on the platform, I've made a few spaces for various bits and bobs that I will get to later, but in order to research this, I actually went out to another preserved railway that I have not visited yet, and I looked at specifically various window dressings and just the place in general. So I'm going to cut to what is actually the first bit of footage that I took on this project, which is actually at Isfield Station on the Lavender line. So Isfield is a bit of a hidden gem in my opinion. It used to be part of the Uckfield to Lewes main line. Part of it is still preserved. It's a kind of mile or so stretch of double track, but only one line is in use. What's interesting about it is that it is all based around one single station. So everything is based down here. They have all of their staff and equipment down here, so it's perfect to look at for all the details that you will find on not only a preserved station but also on a attraction style station. So I've actually just missed the last train. I was in the waiting room getting some coffee. Lovely little place. It's decorated with some amazing railway memorabilia. Perfect to get a picture of. I'm using a lot of those as references for sure. I've spent a lot of my time here getting pictures of the greebling and the details. As you can see, it's kind of close to Christmas, so everything is also decorated in nice tinsels. And there's a Christmas tree under the canopy. But it's lovely. It's really quaint. Anyway, I'm going to go back inside now. It's getting very cold. Probably head home soon. Welcome back. So I have been reviewing the footage and I've instantly made some adjustments to the front of the ticket office. Most noticeably, I have added a hanging clock there as well as a sign. They both have also got hanging baskets of flowers. This just signifies that it's a better kept station because it's a preserved railway and that brings in the tourists. You've also got a fire bucket there. These are very, very common, especially on preserved railways. I've seen many around. As well as this little poster, which sort of resembles a timetable. I've often seen the timetables written on chalkboards like this because they often change the times of trains as the year goes on. Now, I have also been amassing various bits and bobs that will hopefully give the station a bit more colour. I'm actually going to show you how to make a couple of these, but in no particular order. We have the flower beds with some buffers. No guesses where that's going to go. There's also a flower bed with the name board on it, and it will probably look more interesting once the name of the station is printed on there. In front we have a very simple version of these weighing scales. This is a sign that's put at the end of the platform telling people not to trespass on the railway. We also have these. Now, I often have seen these large metal canisters sort of just lying around on the platform in a lot of places, and there were certainly some in Isfield as well. Now, after a quick Google, what I seem to understand is that they are milk canisters. I'd assume that back when railways were everywhere and people had their milk delivered, this was the fastest way to distribute them across the country before being sort of packaged off into individuals' homes. Now, here are just some typical stacks of boxes. You often find a sort of assortment on a platform just for decoration. But here is the more interesting stuff. These are lamps that will decorate the length of the platform, and as well some benches. Now, these are based on benches from some creator sets, so they're very simple to make. They're not really my design, but I will show you how to make those anyway. Okay, so we're going to start with these scales. These are the pieces that you need to make it work. It is very, very simple. Let's start with the base. Start like that, and then add the body like so. Feel free to add the meter there and top it all off with this tile. Very simple. The milk canisters are ridiculously simple. It doesn't quite have the same shape, but you do get a nice lid effect on a canister. So first, just a simple Technic pin with a stud, goes into one of these Technic connectors, followed by the round tile. Easy peasy. One thing you're going to need slightly more pieces for are the benches. Now, these are a Lego design, but I will show you how to make them anyway. You need 3 tile pieces, and you can place them like so on these ratchet jointed parts here. And then at the bottom you add one of these. There we are. And then simply on the bottom half you add the studs for the legs. And finally, ratchet them up, and there you have it. Possibly one of my favourite small builds are the lamps. You don't need many pieces for these, but these are slightly rarer pieces. First off, we're going to start by putting this upside down, like so, followed by slotting this into the base, so that you have something like this, followed by this 1x1 tile, which has room for a bar to go through. needs a bit of force there. And that's just simply followed by the transparent minifigure head and the cap. And you have yourself quite a sturdy little lamp. And finally, this is how to make a very simple version of the Flowerbeds. Make sure that you have 2 plain 1x2 bricks as opposed to an extra 2 of these grated bricks. So these go on the end like so. And then the 6 bricks go along the sides. And of course, you can always extend these once you know the method. No guesses what happens next. We follow this with the base, like so, and simply decorate the top with flowers. It's not the most complex, but it does add a bit of colour. So now that I've shown you how to make them, let's add them to the layout and see how they look. So quite excitingly, we are nearly finished as far as the railway section of this layout is concerned. The only thing we have left, apart from maybe any minor changes that I might make, is the canopy for the station. Now I have already designed this. As you can see, I've kind of made a bit of space for it to go, and I know what height it's going to be. All I have to do now is build it. So interestingly, I'm building this sideways. Now that is in order to try and maximise the amount of light that gets through it through various building methods that hopefully you'll be able to decipher. But I'm going to bring out the laptop and get on with it. So there it is. You can kind of see what I mean now by building it sideways. So that is the direction of all the bricks. I will add that to the layout tomorrow and see how it looks. As far as my pieces to camera are concerned, I think that is how I'm going to leave it, but I think for the first time I'm going to get some trains on this layout and leave you with some footage of that. and hopefully it'll look really good. So as I've said before, if you want to support this project, there is a link to my Patreon page at the end of the video and in the description. Other than that, that is all from this instalment. So I hope you enjoy the footage, I hope it looks good, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.